I want to thank you all for coming to join us for the Leveling Up Your Professional Reiki Practice event presented by St. Paul's Free University. I'm David M. Masters, lead coach and trainer for St. Paul's, and founding member Daniel Mark Schwartz and I will be hosting the event. And let me tell you, we have a lineup of professionals like you have never seen before in this stream for Reiki Masters. We're going to help give you the keys to unlock your Reiki practice and take it to the next level. The next level represents offering more services, serving a wider audience, and expanding your income earning potential from your existing Reiki practice. And if you are a Reiki Master and you haven't been offering your services to others, you're doing yourself and the community a disservice for not doing so. But not to worry. After attending this event, you'll be ready to rock your new empowered Reiki ministry or business, and we are here to help you do this. Right, Daniel?
Thanks, Dave. I'm really proud to announce that St. Paul's Free University has stepped up to offer a one-of-a-kind certificate for those of you who are able to make it through all of these presentations and absorb all the information that we've been able to present today. Those of you who make it through and are ready to apply to St. Paul's Free University will receive a free printed certificate mailed to your door. This will be the Certified Reiki Professional Certificate. Once again, this is a once-of-a-kind thing, and it's not guaranteed to last, right? So if you're seeing this video, make sure you finish it right now and apply as soon as you can afterwards to make sure that you don't miss the offer while it's still available. Dave?
Thank you for that, Daniel. And keep in mind, we understand that you may feel uncomfortable about charging money for your Reiki services, but today we're changing you, your thought systems that are holding you back, and we're empowering you to allow the energy exchange that we all can agree that money is a form of energy, right? We are all energy healers, and money is just the easiest way to exchange energy for services rendered. So keep an open mind as we tweak your Reiki practice for prosperity and abundance as you do greater work in the world. We're going to start off today with empowering you with the free Lightning Reiki plugin to add to your practice. Now, this plugin is for Reiki Level 3 Reiki Masters. And note that in a few minutes, you're going to need to have a quiet space where you're not distracted, in a quiet place to receive your attunement. Now, let me tell you a little about what to expect from your Lightning Reiki attunement today. Lightning Reiki is for use for your clients who have severe blockages that come from trauma from the past, which hides in various places inside the body. Lightning Reiki will, in a very short period of time, seek out and destroy all hidden festering wounds that are associated with past drama or trauma, which is preventing your client from being all they could be. Now, this would take months or years of traditional therapy, and the therapeutic environment can be traumatizing in itself. So, you'll receive your virtual attunement for the Lightning Reiki plugin. You must be a Reiki Master to receive the Lightning Reiki plugin to enhance your Reiki practice, enabling you to do deep emotional work in minutes without unearthing buried trauma. Most people can go on throughout their whole lives and live a completely normal looking life, but they're harboring hidden trauma from the past, just ignoring it and pretending like nothing ever happened is a pretty good method of getting by, but no one ever be the wiser. You're moving on and things are looking pretty good, and no one would even know you had all this trauma in your past. And the longer you ignore it, the memory of it just fades away into nothing. Sounds like a pretty good plan, right? Wrong. Repressed trauma, while it can be hidden from the conscious mind, hides away in the body, where it festers and spreads deadly poisons throughout the body, which can cause biological deterioration, disease, and can lead to an early grave. Unresolved traumatic wounds do not go away on their own. If the patient can survive in years of therapy by following all the traumatic links, they can finally get to the root cause of the trauma and deal with that. And this is not an easy process. Each successively linked incident can be painful to remember and process, which comes with its own new kinds of trauma, which can only be wiped away after the entire chain of traumatic wounds have been healed. That's what's great about Lightning Reiki. In one fell swoop, in a single energetic burst, Reiki energy finds and follows every link of the chain down to the primary traumatic incident that was the first wound or link. And here's how the Lightning Reiki plugin works for Reiki Masters who've been attuned for Lightning Reiki. First, you'll have a conversation with your client or have an awareness that he or she is suffering from being blocked by past trauma or adverse childhood experiences, which have a cumulative effect on your client's entire life. You put your hands in the current position on the top of your client's head like this, with the index fingers pointed forward towards the client's nose. Orient yourself energetically as you would if you're going to prepare to administer Reiki to your client. But for Lightning Reiki, we're going to send one single burst of energy through the palms of your hands, through your client's crown chakra. This burst of energy shoots down throughout your client's body to all the parts, seeking out the stored negative energy and trauma from past events, administering healing and God source energy to each otherwise hidden wound, cauterizing off the wound and dissolving it from the patient's body instantly. Now, no drama or trauma associated with the treatment, and you, the practitioner, do not even need to know any of the potentially horrific details. An entire lifetime of traumatic wounds just vaporize, just like that. Now, Lightning Reiki treatments are so effective and rapid that no one would pay you for a 1-minute session. So it's advised that you interact with your client as you normally would and complete a regular Reiki session prior to administering Lightning Reiki. Your client need not know the bulk of the work was done in the final jolt of your treatment regimen. Before administering your Lightning Reiki, establish the type of trauma that your client's being blocked by. Like I said, you don't have to know all the details. Just know what it appears to be or feels like to your client. Your client may feel like it's work-related, in that everything they try to do to succeed seems to fail. This is a perfect starting point. Let source energy do all the heavy lifting of following the chain of associated traumatic events, locating where the poisonous wounds are and where they're hiding, seeking and destroying the source of the chain, and setting your clients free. And this works for any chain of negative energetic wounds that can be found hiding deep within your client's body. It works for being disease-prone, blocked romance, stifled personal growth, limited financial resources, being your own worst enemy, abusive relationships, self-destructive behavior, depression, even suicidal ideation. Let Lightning Reiki do the work. All you need to do is allow yourself to be the vessel, channeling God source energy in this manner. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty and get your Lightning Reiki attunement done right now. Note that this attunement is only available as an add-on to your Reiki Master status. You must already have completed Reiki 1, 2, and 3 for Lightning Reiki activation. If you are a Reiki Master and you want to receive your Lightning Reiki attunement right now, first put your hands in the Lightning Reiki hand position. This is the hand position that you use on the top of your client's head at the crown chakra. For you to receive attunement, you will place your hands in this position in the middle of your chest like this. Now close your eyes and take a deep cleansing breath. 2 more breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now repeat after me. I hereby avail myself to the power of the universe and God source energy to receive the Lightning Reiki attunement. I pledge to avail myself to those who are wounded and in need of emotional healing in this troubled world. Now don't repeat after me, but I want you to hold your hands while they're still in this position to bring your hands together as in the position of praying hands. And I want you to repeat this after me. I am blessed and empowered to funnel this sacred energy, so I shall bless others, answering this call. For I am merely a humble servant. Amen. Okay, congratulations. You're now attuned for Lightning Reiki. And when we come back, we'll talk about how you can use Lightning Reiki to expand your practice to emotional healing. Now, next up is one of the most amazing leaders in alternative living, a true spiritual explorer and energy alchemist who is offering up some of his best ideas about how you can level up your Reiki practice by adding energy work for victims of toxic people. Infinite Life Advisor Daniel Mark Schwartz shares with you his secrets about healing energy for victims of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. Without further ado, one of the smartest guys I know, Daniel Mark Schwartz.
Hi, Daniel Mark Schwartz here again. I'm an Olympian life coach, Infinite Life Advisor, and a specialist at working with victims of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, or what I like to call toxic people. And I believe that there's a huge need for Reiki and energy healers in this space. So why should you deal with these victims of toxic people? First of all, they're an underserved community by energy workers. Energy workers tend to, from what I've seen, stick with the same kind of crowd, the alternative healing crowd. But many victims that I've seen and worked with, victims of narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, toxic people, they have no idea that energy workers are out there, that they exist, and that they can help them. And so by reaching out to them, you as the energy worker reaching out to the victims, you have both the ability to expand your practice and to serve people that are in dire need of your services. The next is that victims of psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths, etc. benefit from psychic protection. All of these abusers, they use psychic means, they use psychological means to attack their victims, to make them dependent on them, and to further the cycle of abuse. Unfortunately, most clinical practitioners, therapists, psychologists, they have no idea the energy aspect of this, the type of psychic attacks that can happen. But as an energy healer, and probably somebody who's versed in a number of different modalities, you're able to actually put up a psychic defense for them to help them construct their own defense and serve them in a way that no other professional is capable of doing. And lastly, by going to an energy healer, it gives the victim an excuse to go get help. Right? If they went to a coach or a psychologist or somebody that's very clearly there to help them get away from their abuser, the abuser is going to notice, and the abuser is going to stop them from going. But if they go get a massage or some energy healing or crystals or whatever modalities that you are able to provide, it gives them a good excuse to go seek help that doesn't throw their abuser under the bus and doesn't tip them off on what they're doing. So what are you going to see when you start dealing with these victims? Number one is confusion. Victims are trained to have a very loose grip of reality, right? They're gaslit. They're constantly, rumors are constantly spread about them to the point where they don't know what's true and what isn't. So the first thing you're going to want to deal with when you see them is this confusion, get them back into truth and get them back in reality. Next is a learned dependence or helplessness so that their abuser can keep them in the loop of abuse and that cycle of abuse. So once you deal with the confusion, then you're able to move on to this learned dependence and learned helplessness and help them get past that. Lastly, they're going to have an extremely stifled expression. They're not going to be able to say what they think. They're not going to even be able to formulate what they think. And so those are the three qualities that you need to deal with. So when I work with a client, and I recommend this to any of you energy healers out there, if you deal or come across somebody that's a victim of a toxic person, to take them through these 4 stages of recovery. 1, put up protection around them. Try to minimize the attacks, minimize the abuse, and at least, if things don't get better, at least try to make them so they don't get worse. 2, help the victim find their own truth. Help them get back into reality. Get a firm, both feet on the ground, earth them, ground them, so that they can actually see what's going on in their lives. And so this is going to be one of the biggest steps. Think of all the 4. This generally takes the longest. But it's something that you're going to have to work with them day by day and visit by visit. 3, once they're starting to get a grasp on things again, then you can start working on what I call antidotes, which are ways that they can counter the abuse, to stop it in their tracks. And I'm going to talk more about this in later presentations. But use whatever methodologies you have that you can teach them. So this is the educational portion of your practice, to be self-sufficient and to care for themselves. And lastly, once somebody has gotten to the point where they're able to actually be assertive in their own life, they can either get away or create a new agreement. And a new agreement would be readjusting the parameters of the relationship that they're in a way that ends abuse and makes it win-win for both people or all the people involved. So now for the energy healers out there, I'm going to go and target several of the different energy centers of the body and recommend what to look for and what you can heal. So I'm not going to necessarily say how you would do it with a particular methodology. I'm just saying use whatever skills you have to fight this in these areas. The first thing is the root energy center, the root chakra. There in these victims, you're going to find a huge level of insecurity. They're probably going to be in a fight or flight type situation or emotion constantly. That leads to fatigue and a number of other things, as well as they've been trained to walk on eggshells around their abuser. And so these are all like energy blockages that you're going to find in this chakra that you can work on and replace. Next is the sacral energy center. And the kinds of blockages you're going to find here are going to be intimacy issues. They may or may not have experienced some form of sexual abuse, but that's very common. And much of this actually stems from childhood. It's very common for victims of toxic people as adults who they're in an abusive relationship or work environment. Many of them actually grew up in a similar environment. And so this abuse that you're finding may actually go all the way back into early childhood. So that's something to watch out for. Here, you're going to also want to give them a boost in their creativity department. This is the energy center for creativity, and most victims lack creativity because it's been drilled out of them through their abuse. Next up is what the solar plexus, as often it's called. It's not actually there; it's more closer to the navel. But this center is a good place to build confidence in your clients, amplify their personal power, and build up their assertiveness. And so I would usually do this the third step. So go in this order for these first three. Next up is the heart energy center. Major one, of course. I think everybody has some method of working with that, especially in the energy healing center. And I believe that you can do this at any phase. So this could be first thing you do. This could be in this order, whenever, or constantly throughout the practice. But what I try to focus on in this area is actually conversion of negative feelings into positive feelings. So the two biggest ones are turning guilt, either the guilt that they project onto their abuser for the things that they've done, maybe justifiable guilt, but guilt nonetheless, or guilt that they feel for allowing themselves to be victimized. This needs to be turned into compassion. And that's the most direct and profitable way to go. Next is to turn dependence, these dependent feelings, these feelings of not being good enough, of lack, into forgiveness. And it seems maybe a little sideways, but that's actually an extremely powerful route to go, because forgiveness in this case directly counters dependence, and it's an emotion that feels similar that can fill that same space in a way that benefits them instead of being a detriment to them as the victim. And lastly, of course, in this area, everybody needs more of this. Fill them with as much self-love as you can. And then the last energy center I'm going to cover here, because we're running out of time, is the throat energy center. Right. So in this area, it's probably going to be the last thing you want to work on, in the overall progress. This area, it helps them formulate their ideas, realize their what they think, what their emotions are, into written or spoken form. It's an area where you can work to clear up their mental fog and to help them take action. So that's what I have. Make sure you stay tuned for my later presentations where I actually explain how you can use these skills to find individuals on which you can use these skills and actually drastically benefit your practice with this hugely untapped market. So up next, I'd like to introduce our own curandera healer. That's Rosa M. Luna. She is a multi-generational native healer who embodies a huge variety of techniques, from our ancestors as well as modern techniques. And today she's going to share with us things that we can use to improve our Reiki practice. Rosa?
Hello, my name is Rosa M. Luna, and I'm a curandera healer, and I assist people with many different kinds of healings. But today, I'm going to talk about something that you might not heard of. Have you heard of healing with an egg? It might sound silly, but have you heard of the evil eye? If some of your friends are Mexicans, then chances are you've heard of it. So today, I will activate you for curando con un huevo, which is healing with an egg. And you can add this to your Reiki practice. My mother, who was a curandera healer, I learned from her, and I learned from her how to activate. So I learned all the healings from my mom, who in our family had generations and generations of healers throughout our families. When we moved to the United States, the children of my mother did not experience the one-on-one learning experience that I did. However, I worked with my mother and assisted her in her healings. She died young in a car accident. So I have taught many of my family who would like to continue with our family tradition of healing others, and other friends who wanted to become healers as well. I also learned to add to my bag of tools for healing Reiki. It added one more powerful energy, in which was like adding another spice to an already good meal. I remember my mom always had visitors around the house. Our living room was full of people waiting to take their turn to talk to her. She would accept donations, and if people could not pay, she would accept food, vegetables, fruit, flowers, homemade gifts, sweetbread, freshly made tortillas. And some of her girlfriends, who we called comadres, would come over and cook for us as well and help clean the house in exchange for a healing. All this for a healing. I myself do that as well. I have a healing office and people come to get healings, and I charge a flat rate. My house is especially full during the harvest times. I love getting the fresh fruits, the peaches, they were huge, pears, tomatoes enough to can, fresh picked Bing cherries, my favorite. I especially love fresh picked flowers. I would place them in my healing room to enjoy their fragrance and help heal the worry. The evil eye is a very old Mexican superstitious curse, or a legend originating in ancient times from many countries. It is believed to be cast by a malicious glare, usually given to a person when one is unaware. The evil eye is a venomous impact from a bad-intentioned person whose emotions of jealousy and envy from all those around us. Believers would avoid talking about their valuable items that they owned. They could be stolen or lost, or they wouldn't like to talk about their good luck that they had come to them in particular. Especially, they did not like talking about their children for fear that the children would be cursed. How do you know if you have the evil eye? The test used to confirm the evil eye has been cast is performed by placing a drop of olive oil in a glass of water, of course blessed by the healer. Under normal circumstances, the olive oil would float. But if the drop sinks, then the evil eye has been cast. That's how you would know. Sometimes you may get severe headaches. The evil eye could make your headaches so painful that you will feel like vomiting. The light would hurt your eyes. But if you are a Reiki Master and would like to learn this type of healing, I would like to activate you with this ability to heal using the egg, in which, believe it or not, it heals. You will be able to heal anyone with just your loving will and love for others. Let's start with the activation meditation. Ready? Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out like you're blowing out candles from your birthday cake. Good job. Try it again. Breathe in and breathe out. Now on the last breath, as you breathe in, take another deep breath in and hold your breath to the count of 6 in your mind. Ready? Breathe in. Count to 6 in your mind and blow out those birthday candles. Okay. Starting the activation meditation now. Keep your eyes closed. Okay. So I would like to remind you that you're not doing this alone. Let's activate you and let's invite your angels, your spirit guides, and your Reiki guides who joined you when you were attuned as a Reiki practitioner. I now would like to remind you that you are a constant gatherer of experiences and knowledge. It is a fulfillment of joy that will be awoken within you. You will be awakened with the potential of awareness and powerfulness, for you're the only one who holds the key to this activation. Now you're ready to heal with an egg. So take another deep breath. Count to the 6 in your mind and blow out those birthday candles. Okay, are we ready to do this? So first of all, gather an egg. That is in your refrigerator, of course. That's where you keep them. If you're a Reiki Master, you place the Reiki symbols on the egg and request the egg to remove the pain, the negative entities, and the negative energy. And don't forget to say thank you for the egg for giving us their healing and their life. So you say the patient's name, and then you have the client take 3 deep breaths. And on the last breath, hold for the count of 6 in their mind and breathe out as if blowing out your birthday candles on your cake. Have the person close their eyes and relax their breathing. Now, you grab the egg, and in a clockwise motion, you roll it around the head, making sure you touch the egg inside your ears, your lips, over your eyes, and the back of your scalp, and down to your spine. If it's a headache, rub it on the headache until the pain is gone or either lessened. It could take a good 3 minutes. Then you take the egg, you roll it across the chest in a swirling motion, and then up and down your arms, and have the client hold the egg in their hands as long as the healer feels it should be held. Then you take the egg, rub it on the third eye, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, and the second chakra. For the next step, have the client place and hold the egg on their first chakra, which is located between their thighs. You hold it there until the healer says it's done. Then you roll the egg on the right leg, left leg, the heels and the bottoms of their feet. And careful, because at this point, the egg could explode. If not, break the egg in a clear glass of water. If the healer is a reader, then she'll read the egg for you. After reading the egg, sprinkle salt over the glass as the healer visualizes the white light, filling every part of our bodies with positive, loving, wonderful, life-giving energy. Give thanks to the egg and flush it down the toilet, or if earth is available, dig a little hole in the ground, and this is what I do, and give the egg back to the earth, burying it as well as, and when you do, thank the egg and source as well, our higher self, God, Goddess, as we know them, our angels, our spirit guides, our Reiki guides, and thank them for their help and their involvement in all this. Congratulations, you're now activated to Curando con un Huevo, healing with an egg.
Thank you, Rosa M. Luna. Up next is our Source Energy therapist who has an impressive background of life coaching and professional child life enrichment. She serves the local and greater community by bringing her special brand of Reiki healing and life enhancement. She is an instructor and founding member of St. Paul's Free University. Today, she shares with you, our Reiki Master guest, Source Energy, Reiki, and how it can benefit your clients that are grieving. Welcome with me, Wendy Lynn Johnson.
Hi everyone, I am Wendy Lynn Johnson with Source Energy Therapy and Wendy Johnson's Life Coaching. Today I am here to talk to you about Source Energy, Reiki, and how it can benefit your clients that are grieving. Let us look first at grief. What does grief look like? Does one merely grieve when they lose a loved one to death? Many common causes of grief are other things besides death. Conflicting feelings can cause grief. These conflicting feelings can be caused by changes in life's patterns or the end of something that you've done for a long time. Some examples of that would be divorce, dissolution of marriage, can cause a grieving process. Retirement, someone that's had a job for 30 plus years and reported to the same place, and then all of a sudden they don't report there anymore and they're not around the same people, and that can cause the feeling of loss, which is what you grieve. Graduating college or high school can be a sense of loss. You no longer do the same things every day that you did for years and years and years, and see the same people, be around all those people, so that can cause grief or loss as well. A romantic breakup. This is the termination of a romantic relationship other than death. That can cause grief as well. Moving to another city or state, having to start all over again. That can cause huge changes in one's life that can bring grief. Disfellowshipping or banishment, the punishment of being sent away, the action of getting rid of something unwanted is what that is, and that also can cause grief. Losing a job, being fired, laid off, loss of your permanent income to sustain your life as you know it. That can also cause grief. Bankruptcy, repossession of your car or your home, a court proceeding where there's a dissolution of marriage, or a family law court where you're having to fight for your children and come up with a parenting plan. All those kinds of things are cause for grief. And when someone is in a state of grieving, the heart chakra is the one that is the most impacted. It can affect all their chakras. They may become imbalanced. Grief is an energy depleting emotion. This is important to remember because our bodies need energy to be and stay physically, emotionally, and mentally, as well as spiritually healthy. We need to derive this energy from different sources, such as the energy from the foods that we consume daily, energy from keeping our bodies moving, such as exercise, and that's a big important part. We also derive energy from being outdoors in nature. When we go outside barefooted, we can bring up source energy through our feet, up into our legs and into our energy centers, our chakras, raising our vibrations and replenishing them all. When one is grieving, if they do not make a conscious effort to replace the energy that grieving uses, one is highly likely to start to feel the effects from it in their bodies. So what this would look like is it might slow you down. You might start to feel sluggish, possibly even causing you to become ill or sick. One's body, mind, and soul can only undergo this for so long before they feel the effects and become ill. So you need to take the time for yourself and make sure that you are replenishing your energy centers. Or you're going to find yourself in physical pain or weakness in the body or ill in some way. There are also many emotional effects, such as anxiety, panic attacks, that can occur if one's energy centers or chakras are depleted or are not working properly. It is common for one to become ill while grieving. One can feel as if their mind is in a complete fog. Have you ever had that foggy feeling? Well, if we're not taking care of ourselves while we're grieving, that can happen to us. One's heart can feel as if it is completely broken and they feel completely disconnected from their bodies. Spiritually speaking, a griever may become disconnected from one's higher self. As a result, maintaining spiritual health and well-being becomes very difficult. This is where Reiki can benefit a griever. One can receive Reiki from a Reiki practitioner or give oneself Reiki if you are Reiki 1 attuned or higher. Being the energy, the Reiki energy comes from source. It will not further deplete your energy centers or the flow of energy, Reiki energy, to yourself. The symptoms of grief and the benefits of Reiki are almost a match, each one for one. Reiki replaces, imbalances, and strengthens the flow of energy in one's body. This will ease anxiety, pain, and improve one's sleep. Reiki enhances the body's ability to heal itself by activating the natural healing process. Reiki energy knows exactly where it is most needed to heal and balance one's body physically, emotionally, as well as spiritually. That does not mean your client's symptoms will magically disappear. However, it will become easier for your client to deal with grief's ups and downs. The calm that Reiki brings with it gives the griever the courage and stamina to deal with the grieving process. It is also an opportunity for the griever to relax and just let the emotions flow without judgment during a Reiki session. So often society has made it feel like we need to be so strong and to hold in our emotions, and it is quite to the contrary. That will create more sickness within our own bodies. So you may want to be sure that your client feels no judgment and is aware of the extreme emotions that may flow during a Reiki session, especially if they have just lost a loved one. Giving them permission to allow the sadness to escape. Taking the time to be sad is ultimately what gets us through the grief process. When we cry, it is a cleansing process. It washes out all those negative energies. It washes, cleans out our system, our energy centers. Washes out those negative feelings, allowing a space for a happy memory to shine through, or just simply allows room for positive energy that will help your client cope with the loss. Also, as a practitioner, you may want to be aware that the loved one who has recently passed may bring in messages during a Reiki session. If you are dealing with someone that's grieving from death, I have personally experienced this. My first experience with this, I was not quite prepared for. Fortunately, I was aware of its possibilities and had known the deceased, and I chose to invite him in with my mind's eye and ask if he would like me to deliver a message. It was really a phenomenal experience for both of us. In my situation, that being me and my client, in my situation, I chose to tell my client because she was a dear friend of mine. However, you might want to know how the client, you might not know how the client is going to respond or will react. So you will want to use your discretion and your intuition on this very delicate matter in choosing whether to let them know about the experience or how the experience went. If you or someone you know are interested in learning more about Reiki, please find me at sourceenergytherapy.com or email me at wendyjohnsonslifecoaching@outlook.com. I hope you have a fabulous day.
Up next is Juanita Holiday. Juanita is a natural alternative specialist who is an expert in all things stones, oils, herbs, and the multitude of natural healing modalities that are out there. And she's going to share with you ways that you can use these natural healing alternatives to amplify your Reiki practice.
Hi, thank you for joining me today. The first tip I want to give you to expand your Reiki practice today is to add natural alternatives to your practice. We all know that Reiki energy healing has everything you need to heal the body from whatever is making you suffer from diseases or treating anyone who is sick or tired. The best Reiki Masters are opening more of a full-service Reiki practice, which help raise the client's quality of life by adding natural alternatives. What's great about this is that it increases your average dollar value per visit of almost every client you will ever have. You can catch many Reiki Masters in the act of increasing their earnings per visit by offering the client an opportunity to add some healthy alternative product to their life, something to take home with them. It can be smart to find something that is multi-level, which means that every time you sell a product, you earn a referral fee. And so does your person who has signed you up as a distributor. What's interesting about the multi-level product interrogation is that your client may be interested in telling his or her friends about this product, so he or she signs up under you and you earn a fee every time this client or any of his friends buy something. This is a good way to build an alternative stream of income which might take on a life of its own and bring you free money every month. You can also add spiritually significant Reiki-enhanced salesmen that will help extend the healing residue of your Reiki treatment well beyond the 3 days, which is normal. You can charge anything which Reiki source energy by activating it. As a Reiki Master, you can Reiki energize any object with the Reiki symbols, which transform any normal item into healing talismans of magical amulet. For instance, you can offer an activated crystal necklace. Let's take a look at how this works. First, you will need some raw material like crystal necklaces. Do not make this more complicated than it needs to be. I just looked this up, and you can get 5 crystal necklaces for $17.99 from Amazon with free shipping for Prime members. That's less than $4 a piece. Here is where the magic happens. Once you have them in hand, you activate them by putting the Reiki symbols on them. Now they are $25. Magical talismans that your clients would be glad to buy as energy healing enhancements and good luck charm. Just doing that one thing upped your receipt from visit by $25 and don't have to put anything as fancy as crystal necklace. Reiki Masters can energize and transform ordinary rocks into powerful energy healing stones, which are worth far more than their raw material cost. There are many items and products that you can apply to your Reiki practices. The more research you put into getting acquainted with the products you decide to add to your practice, the more people are willing to pay. For instance, you can show your clients the 5 crystal necklaces and say, just pick one that you are drawn to and charge $20 for activated necklaces. Or you can explain about the benefits of the amethyst and tell your client about how this activated crystal is especially matched, energized, and Reiki activated for his or her problems. Now you can charge up to $40 to $50 for the same necklace. In this way, you can offer nearly any product you are willing to study about, which make you an expert in that area. You can add stones and crystals, magnetic jewelry, alternative healing products of any size, type, or price to match your clients. You can also add herbal supplements to your Reiki practice. This is by far my favorite idea for you, and I love learning about various plants and minerals and how they can better help my clients. You can do that too if you are willing to put in the time and effort to learn about them and how they can help your clients. Again, do not make this more difficult than it is. You can just learn about what you want, like all the benefits of fenugreek, such as help in lowering blood sugar levels for enhanced healing of diabetes. Along with your Reiki energy healing, it helps the menstrual cramps and sexual problems that prevent satisfaction during sexual activity. Fenugreek is often prescribed for weight loss as it is a natural appetite suppressant and reduces fat mass while increasing stomach and gut health, and fenugreek is probably best known for being a natural breast enhancement. No need for breast surgery here. It's just natural breast enlargement without implants or surgery and no scars. This is one herbal supplement that very few people know about. You could provide a private labeled 2-ounce worth for $20 to your clients that are Reiki activated, of course. Let's take a look at Amazon again. Okay, you can get 2 pounds of fenugreek for $11.45 with free shipping if you have Prime. That's 10 2-ounce packages, and if you want, you can package them in neat brown 2-ounce jars like these. You are well under $3 each for the fenugreek and the bottles that you are selling for $20 each. Hello, that's just one item, and there are thousands of plants and minerals out there that you can mix and match and easily come up with your own concoctions. And we haven't even talked about the possibilities of adding essential oils or candles, tinctures, potions, and lotions, and increase your average revenue per visit exponentially.
Now that you've added the Lightning Reiki plugin to your Reiki practice, you can reach out to a broader community of people who need you right now more than ever. With the current state of affairs in our country and throughout the globe, our people have never been so emotionally wounded. If you don't believe me, just look around. And what do you see? Adults living small because they've been retrained by adverse childhood experiences or hidden sexual trauma, which are self-imposed prisons holding the victims captive, keeping them from all the good things this life has to offer. You see it all around you. People are suffering, and you can see the emptiness in their eyes as they do the best they can to make their way through this life. You can feel the sadness and depressed nature of these poor souls. As Reiki Masters, we serve mostly people with physical maladies, and this type of energy healing has proven to be so effective that hospitals are adding Reiki practitioners to their staff to serve those in need. Why? Because patients who receive Reiki get better faster and live longer than patients who do not receive Reiki. And I was well aware of this when I first learned laying on of hands healing from the nuns up at Grace Harbor Hospital back in the day. Since then, I graduated to become a Reiki Master and have gone beyond. Yet, with all the physiological problems that plague our children, peers, and seniors, psychological problems are far more pervasive and may actually be the source of biological complications. You see people suffering every day from inconsolable grief, sorrow, loneliness, shame, and unworthiness, just to name a few. By adding Lightning Reiki to your practice, you are expanding your potential market to more than double, just like that. And just like the hospitals are embracing Reiki practices, so you and your practice will help support the psychiatric community that serves those with challenges around the areas of mental illness and other emotional challenges. You are their partner in the negative emotion healing process. Then there is this crossover point between psychological and the biological, where emotional pain actually is the root cause of physiological disease. It sounds perfectly logical to a Reiki master, but your doctor would have thought you were crazy 20 years ago if you suggested that thoughts, feelings, and behaviors could be the cause of debilitating, life-threatening disease. Though today, this is commonly held and verifiable data. Lightning Reiki is so effective in treating the emotional cause of disease and emotional pain, such as sadness, anxiety, unexpressed anger, shame, and guilt, which left unhealed will cause disease such as obesity, depression, heart disease, diabetes, gastrointestinal problems, Alzheimer's disease, and asthma, among other things. These people are calling out for help in a world that has them feeling helpless and hopeless, which is a direct path to suicidal tendencies. And there you are, with Lightning Reiki, ready and willing to answer the call, right? After your initial consultation with your client, you have determined he or she is in need of emotional healing. So, you do your due diligence in discovering the theme of the chain of negative energy, which is keeping them imprisoned in an unhealthy and possibly even lethal path to self-destruction. Now remember that you do not have to know all the intricate details to use Lightning Reiki. In your discovery process, you need only know the generalities to determine what kind of trauma they're going through to target with your Lightning Reiki. Is it poor self-esteem? Was your client a victim of child abuse? Were his or her parents abusive or neglectful? Was he or her a victim of sexual abuse? Does your client feel like a victim of betrayal by someone he or she trusted or admired, but he or she was taken advantage of? Just generalities are all that is necessary. Let your Lightning Reiki do the rest. Now, I always do a regular Reiki session first, because there's no harm in doing so. Plus, I believe it helps keep the heart and spirit more pliable and open for the Lightning Reiki bolt of energy that is coming up. Following the session, while the client is in a relaxed state, whether they're on the table, seated on a chair, or reclining, I make my way to the head of the client and I ask them if they're ready for their Lightning Reiki treatment for their type of emotional pain. With their permission, I tell them that this treatment will follow the chain of all the emotional wounds that are hidden links of the chain, hiding inside his or her body. But I will need one more thing before I begin. I ask the client for a random number between 1 and 100 to represent this chain of emotional pain. After I've received a number from the client, I place my hands in the Lightning Reiki position on the top of his or her head at the crown chakra. And using my imagination, I see the golden bright light from source above streaming down through me and into the earth, completely surging through every cell of my body for a moment, while I am preparing to release a burst of energy through the palms of my hands. In this state, I tell the client that we're going to release all the negative energy associated with this, insert the number that the client has given you, throughout his or her life. Every poisonous link of the chain will be cauterized and vaporized, while I assure that he or she will retain all the wisdom from the events and will be able to process them without pain if necessary at any time in the future. I again ask if they are ready, and then I release the burst with a slight sudden pressure, and I utter ugh. It's like, ugh. Lightning Reiki has already done the work. While my hands are still in position on the client's head, I say, we release all the insert number and all the associated traumas, dramas, and pain associated with this number throughout his life, time, and space. We also release any need for forgiveness, indebtedness, guilt, sin, remorse, blame, or shame associated with this number. Then I put in positive stream of God source energy for health, wealth, happiness, love, creativity, and wild abundance. And then after I remove my hands, I congratulate them because this moment memorializes their past life as from this point forward, he or she is in the driver's seat from now on. And that's how I do it. And now, you can do likewise. When I come back, we'll talk about how Lightning Reiki can increase your income earning potential as you continue to do this great work in the world. Next up, we have Daniel Mark Schwartz. Daniel?
Welcome back. It's Daniel again, here to talk to you about serving victims of toxic people. And I brought you over to the whiteboard because I want us to brainstorm some ideas that we can find and bring in these clients who are in desperate need of your help but have no idea what you can do for them. The first thing let's talk about is where you can actually find these people. And luckily for you, there's victims all over the place. In every group and every circle, there's victims there to be found. But here's a couple of places that you can find to isolate them or to be more likely to find these people than if you just were to ask strangers on the street. So where are we going to find these people? Where? Number one, and this is a great resource, is Facebook. Right? In Facebook, there's hundreds and hundreds of groups. I'm not sure if you are maybe not a Facebook user, but if you go on the website, there's something called a group where people can get together and talk. It's kind of like a place to chat or just have conversations. And I personally know of tens, and I'm sure there's hundreds if not thousands of ones with narcissists in the name, psychopath in the name. These are places where people go to air their troubles, to talk to other people, and it's a great place for you to go to get in contact with them. Another place, and this is old school internet, but message boards. What's a message board? It's just like before social media was a thing, there were places you could go and you could post on these websites, message boards. Now, it may seem a little old school, but there's currently message boards specifically for victims of narcissists and other toxic people that have thousands of people that are active every day on them. So this might be an area that's underserved, that you can find individuals that wouldn't necessarily be on social media or Facebook. Just search Google for narcissist message board or psychopath message board, and you'll find a number of examples. Now, in person is a place. So things like Meetup. Get that M going. Meetup. Right? Craigslist. Anywhere that lists local events, there's probably one specific to your town or region that have event listings. Find events for victims of these people, and that's a great place to pick them up. You don't have quite as much reach as with a larger message board, but you have that one-on-one feel, and it's a great place to get clients, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have any money or time. You have more time to invest than you do money. Lastly, YouTube. Making simple YouTube videos with your cell phone is a great way to get your message out there. And it's very easy nowadays just to put something genuine, something loving out there on these topics, and you're not guaranteed, but it's very likely you're going to get tons of views, people that come to think of you as a friend, a friend that they made through YouTube, and would be interested to work with you on a professional basis. Okay, so then how do we get these people to actually work with us? Let me see if I can add this here. How? Number one, meet them where they are. What does this mean? This means when we approach them, I'm just writing this, where they are. Right, so when we approach them, we actually want to help serve them where they think they need the help to start with. We don't want to throw too much advanced terminology, law of attraction, any of that, energy work stuff, if they're not somebody that's already familiar and interested in that, right? If they don't know about that, you don't need to mention it so much. Focus on what they believe they need. We'll give them initial results, and then you can move them, educate them slowly toward all of your, the breadth of your practice and abilities. Next, you want to learn their language. And by this, I mean the specific types of phrases and turns of phrase that they have in their specific groups. So, for instance, on many Facebook groups that I'm part of, you see people talk about narcissistic supply. You see them throwing away. There's all this different terminology that they build up. And so if you take part in a group for a while before you actually start reaching out to people, so you know how they speak about it, and you can speak in their own language. Don't pull in your own energy healing Reiki language. Use the language that they're already using. Next, you want to look for people within key life events, right? So these are times when they're unusually susceptible to wanting to work with somebody and looking for help, right? What kind of events? Well, with toxic people specifically, or victims of toxic people, you're going to find breakups. And what I mean by a breakup is their abuser left them. Many, many victims are looking for help in that specific circumstance only. That's the one that they need the most help in, and so seek them out there. The next one is when they want to leave. Right, so they want to break up. That's an area where they need tons of backup and support from people in their community, and so this is a good place to find somebody who will be reaching out in all these spots. Hoovering, this is another one of those terminologies. This is basically when their abuser wants to get back together, right? So they left, or their abuser left them, and then now the abuser's coming back and saying, hey, I've changed, I'm better, I want to get back together, right? This is almost never actually the case. This is another form of abuse that comes up very often. And narcissists or victims of these abusers are going to be confused, and they want to get back together, but they're not certain, and they're looking for advice and help. Another great time to meet and start serving these individuals. And last one, there's many more, but is confusion. So I talked about this as a general concept in my first video, but you're going to see a lot of questions from people that are not certain if they are the one, if they're the bad one or not, right? They think they might be the one abusing because they've been convinced of that by their abuser. So answering questions and helping people who are not certain if they're even being abused or not, which sounds crazy, but it's true, is a great way to get connected with them initially, to get them into your practice and show them what you can do. So third section, last section, let's talk about how do we keep our clients once we get them. So I got 4 quick tips on how to keep them. First is give them a good story. What does that mean? Well, they need something to bring back home when they talk about what they did with you, right? And so if you're helping them with their narcissist abuser or with their toxic person abuser, you need to help them, not make something up, but give them a good reason why they're going there. So this could be you're providing other services while you're dealing with this, right? You're giving them energy healing in general. You have specific health targets that you're reaching with them at the same time. Whatever skills you have, make sure you front load them with something that they would tell their abuser if the abuser asks what you did there or what you did with them. Next, make sure they always feel good when they leave. Now, one difficulty when working with victims is they tend to have these mental processes where they bring themselves down. Right? These are learned oftentimes. Maybe they brought them with them since childhood, and it's one of the reasons why they're being abused, because they're extra susceptible. But you, as the professional healer, need to make sure that your client feels great every time they leave. Right? And this isn't just necessarily because you did a good job healing, but because you are able to bring in a mindset which allows them to feel good. So if you do nothing else, make sure they feel good when they leave, and they'll keep coming back. Next is no pushing. Right? We don't have an agenda for them. We don't. It's so easy to feel like things aren't going fast enough as the person doing the healing and helping them. You see the abuse and you're wondering, why won't you just get out of it, take the steps, right? But that is counterproductive to the actual healing. If we try to push them, we're going to push them away and they're not going to come back. So make sure you're completely allowing with your clients, victims of toxic people specifically, and give them as long as they need. This is their process, right? So don't get impatient. And lastly, acceptance. This goes along the same lines, but we're going to encounter thought processes, things that they say, which are just not in line with a healthy way of thinking, right? That's why they're victims. So the first thing we need to do as professionals is to allow and accept that they have these viewpoints. Not try to immediately talk them out of it. Just take the time to view them for who they are and to love them for it, right? And then we can gently offer a different solution. We're not going to argue against them. Agree. When they say something, even if it's obviously not true, be like, I can see how you can think that. And then work with them to, I tend to like to use the Socratic method. So instead of telling them what you think the right answer is, try to lead them to it. Ask them questions, ask them to clarify, be interested in them, and accept where they are and accept when they get to, accept where they are going each step along the way. So this has been, 3 different ways that you can use to get these people into your practice, and I think that this can make a huge benefit. And I encourage every single one of you Reiki healers out there, energy healers, Reiki Masters, to take the time to actually care for these people, go out and find them and serve them, because they really, really, really need your help.
Wanting to expand your Reiki practice to reach more people and maybe for more profit is not a bad idea. If you speak another language, it can help to expand your Reiki practice while you enjoy an extra opportunities to heal from doing so. Adding a second language to your service expands your practice and reaches out to more of the population. You will want to do some market research because it is not unusual for people who speak different languages to desire a different menu of services. For instance, many Latinos are attracted to your curandera barrida de huevo practice of energy sweeping in your clients with an egg. It's a cultural thing. It's something that we all grew up with, and it's hard to find in today's alternative healing marketplace. Since I have already authorized you or activated you to add this in your Reiki practice, you can easily expand your Reiki practice to appeal to the Spanish-speaking communities. Of course, you will need to learn how to speak Spanish really well, or have someone in your office that can speak Spanish frequently to keep these clients on board. Once you have figured what alternative language you will be adding to your practice, you will need to do more marketing to let your new potential customers that you are offering to cater to their specialized needs. Did you know that 75% of businesses believe in multilingual marketing? You will see the best bang for your buck by marketing online through your branded website and social media, like Facebook, for example. Facebook has a good pay-to-play advertising program where you can easily market your specific target audience. There are also other free sites where you can promote your second language offerings, such as Craigslist.org. A little creativity here and there can easily maximize your marketing efforts online. Earning more in your Reiki practice and extending your offerings could change your personal world, as well as the majority of the business on the World Wide Web, including online stores and other marketing materials used in English. Because it's the most popular language on the internet, even though English is the most used in the internet, Chinese is the second most used, and the third one is Spanish in the whole United States of America. So what is your multilingual marketing strategy for multiplying your products? It might be difficult to determine because it involves using more than one language in your location. There are many Vietnamese people here in our area, so it's your market approach. It would be including translating all the content into Spanish and other content into Vietnamese. This marketing strategy involves a professional translation. The content is to be considered and needs to be evaluated due to the differences between the cultures and the people. In this way, your multilingual strategy will gain a competitive edge and reach your market customers. You will have to change your website, implementing both languages, which will give you the ability to reach other countries who use these languages as well, which means you can heal and serve more people, which means more revenue. This too will mean you will need to provide more bilingual workers. Once the market starts gaining speed, since you are a Reiki Master, you are well versed in distant healing. And you can easily become adept to offering your services over the internet by using any of the online video communication services such as Skype or Zoom. This can have a huge impact on your Reiki practice. Most people who are bilingual speak the native language. Even though they speak English, most people prefer to communicate in their native tongue. I too feel more comfortable when speaking my my native language. Even though I speak English and understand it, I feel I can be better understood if I'm wanting something in particular. And I will certainly come back and spread the word about this establishment to my friends, especially if the staff is nice and very helpful. You can also use discounts to entice new second language customers to stop by and check you out. As part of the market strategy, there's nothing wrong with cutting down or back on prices. Cut back on some services. And if you can afford it, give something away or have a sale on products that are not really selling that great. When you discount certain services, it can help to attract new clients while you hone in on your skills, becoming more experienced as you get people to take advantage of your services that may not have done so prior or announcing your discount offer. How about getting a healing if you buy 2 for the same price and another for 50% off to the next healing section? When I used to have a 3-day retreat, I charged $150 for each person a day. I provided sleeping quarters, of course, for those who made early arrangements. But if you brought food to share, I discounted $25. This helped to feed more people during the break times. I would include breakfast, of course. And if you showed up an hour early and helped set up so that I could start in time, breakfast would be free. So as a Reiki Master, CEO of your own Reiki practice, you could use your imagination. You can grow your practice and profit from any wise ideas that you could come up with to expand your services. When your Reiki practice appeals to a larger population, you will see an increase in your traffic on your website from different cities or regions in your home website. So continue to update the website in the languages that you started with. This will increase and continue to increase as more of your pages continue to be updated in your original languages that you set up. Your approach on the web will increase more than 20% really quickly, which means a greater increase in profits. If you're continuing to go international and will continue translating your website, it is very much more cost effective than most anything else you could do to increase market share.
What is a Reiki circle? A Reiki circle is also known as a Reiki share by some Reiki practitioners. At a Reiki circle or share, practitioners of all levels and types of Reiki may be included to join, to do just that, share Reiki. They give and they receive Reiki freely to one another, bringing in their positive energies to join them together to create a positive healing and collective consciousness environment to share source energy. Generally, there is no cost or low cost, maybe donations even, typically just to cover the expenses of the space. Reiki circles are also known to be of great value to one that may be suffering from trauma, grief, or anxiety, or various other things. When they come together collectively, focusing on one goal, the results are often astounding. There are no set rules or laws for holding a Reiki circle. I have encouraged practitioners I have invited to mine to bring someone who is not familiar with Reiki and its powerful energies. This is an opportunity for them to learn and see firsthand how it works, and it opens networking opportunities through them having an amazing experience. Another addition to this could be inviting people to come in virtually through Zoom or Skype using distance Reiki. Let's talk about a sample format for a Reiki circle. You might decide first on a space that will be appropriate for your event. You will need room for at least a minimum of 1 massage table. I've had up to 4 tables at an event that I've held. So you're going to need space enough for seating. I prefer to seat my people in a circle, my practitioners. However, it's not a must. You can choose any way you want to seat your practitioners and your guests. You might even choose an outdoor space, so long as the weather's permitting. You'll need to pick a date to hold your event. Personally, I like to have a written agenda to help keep things moving smoothly. For example, what time you're going to begin with a grounding meditation, introductions. You do not have to follow it, just use it as a guideline and have fun. Choose your time frame. The agenda helps you know how much time you will need for a space, so you can pick your hours, a start time, and kind of have a guideline to go by for an end time. People like to know how long things are going to take. You'll need a guest list. You can choose many ways to get the word out. Some people use Facebook. Let's use text messages, phone. You can write and do it snail mail. Twitter. I would suggest that you ask for RSVP. That way, also find out if they're going to be joining physically or virtually. That way you know how many guests you're going to have, so you know how much space you're going to need. You might want to select a music list to play. I often choose Reiki music from YouTube. They have a great variety of Reiki music. Be sure and have a timer at the event so you can keep the time, so each person has an opportunity to receive Reiki. You can send a special invitation to someone and invite them to bring in some drums or singing bowls. Then add that in your invitation as a special guest. I have also had someone who led us in chakra toning exercises. That was an amazing experience of how all of us who do not practice chakra toning came together with beautiful tones. Decide if you would like to offer refreshments such as lemon water, fruits, nuts, cookies, tea. The important thing here is to check in with your inner guidance on what feels right for you and make it joyful and fun experience for all. This makes the follow-up connections possible later, and when we have a great experience, we as humans innately talk about it and connect. Networking at its finest. You can find me at sourceenergytherapy.com or wendyjohnsonslifecoaching.com. Thank you.
Expanding your services helps to expand your customer base. You can serve more people who need Reiki when you expand your series to serve a wider audience. One of the easiest integrations to make is to appeal to the broader, holistically focused potential client. These people look to holistic resources prior to seeking traditional medical practitioners. They generally think medical doctors and drugs are prescribed are generally not the highest and best form of treatment available. Certainly, many of us agree that pharmacy drugs can do a good job of masking the pain or symptoms, but do little or nothing to actually address the underlying problem, whatever that might be. Reiki, as we all know, sends healing God source energy to the source of the complaint. It is both powerful and a bit sneaky as it gets past the unconscious mind without setting off any alarms and goes directly to the source of the pain or discomfort. You can help to capture this holistic movement by offering holistic services, which Reiki definitely is, but it is limited to those who know Reiki and are seeking to get this type of energy healing done. You basically want to do your expansion to your Reiki practice in 3 areas. 1, adding coaching services. 2, adding another complementary holistic alternative healing method. And 3, add holistic related products and services. For instance, I am a natural alternative specialist, Olympian life coach, and have a passion for herbs, and they provide an alternative to pharmacy meds. So let's take a look at becoming a life coach. Now, you can offer another level of service to your Reiki practice, but know that as a life coach, you don't necessarily have to focus on general life coaching. You can specialize in an area that complements your practice amazingly. My first suggestion might be to offer holistic coaching. This works best because this is appealing to your target market and it fits nicely with your new position in the marketplace. To treat the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, and soul. Other types of coaching to consider adding that would complement your Reiki practice might include health coaching, mindful coaching, spiritual life coaching, and wellness coaching. Though you would not be limited to any of these, you just have to figure out what's right for you. Your complementary alternative healing method to add with your Reiki practice might include a therapeutic science-based therapy, such as aromatherapy, chakra healing crystals, healing light, or therapies. You might also consider something like guided visualization, emotional freedom techniques, dream interpreter, past life regression, tea leaf, tarot, or palm reading, or other psychic-related services. Just make sure that whatever you decide to try to add into your practice, it doesn't need to be a lifelong marriage. You can just try it out and see if it works. See if it works for you. See if it works for you to attract new types of clients that would also be interested in Reiki energy healing services as well. Just know that for every new menu item you add to you will increase your reach to a new target market, hopefully with enough in common with your original Reiki clients that the new people who are coming in would also like having access to your Reiki energy healing services as well. We have already talked about the nearly endless array of holistic products and services that you can add to your practice to widen your market appeal, as well as expanding income earning potential by offering more ways for each client to support you financially as you are being true to who you are and living the life that you want to live on your own terms, of course. You cannot just buy some stuff that you can mark up to make some money. No, you can't do that. You need to be a professional, and that means you are going to have to study and apply some smarts to what you want to add to your menu of services. So you will be far ahead of the game if you focus your attention on the things that excite you, the things that you love to do, the things that complement you when you are completed the task associated with them. Even if you really, really love something, there is a good chance that making it a part of your Reiki practice will sometimes find you not liking the things that you once loved. When it starts to feel too much like work, so do whatever you can to keep it light and enjoyable, and know when to be completely serious about what you're doing. My preference and what I get the most joy out of is discovering the power of natural herbs and minerals and how they can best help my clients and their needs. And keep in mind that a multi-level product-based organization might have something of value to add to your practice as well. You might also consider becoming a natural alternative specialist yourself. Whatever you do, just remember to be true to you and your calling. Don't add something to your practice just for the money, and only consider adding products and services that complement your Reiki practice.
Have you been a Reiki master for a while and it seems like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to break through the income earning ceiling you seem to have set for yourself? Well, get ready to say goodbye to all that financial limitation you've suffered from the past. Now that you have Lightning Reiki plug-in, get ready for your ride to abundance and prosperity. It starts right here and now. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. From this point forward, I will not dispense any healing or lightning Reiki without receiving money first. Period. Look, I know you've been programmed to think your Reiki practice as being more of a ministry than a source of revenue. But by limiting yourself and your practice, you're only doing yourself a huge disservice. You are denying the Creator and the greater community for not living out your life in remunerated service, which is a part of your calling and purpose in this life. As you know from your Reiki Master training, Reiki healing requires an energetic exchange. You and I, we agree that everything is energy, right? And the most popular form of energy in exchange in the world today is the monetary system, right? Right. So it's the easiest method of exchanging energy in our society. It's simple and it's easy. You value my service, you need it, we agree on a value, and you give me cash that is equivalent to the agreed upon value. Now, I'm not saying that money is the only method of exchange, no. Most anything can be used for an energetic value exchange, but you must receive payment in one way or another before you agree to deliver your Reiki services. For some reason, this is really hard to accept for many Reiki Masters, but not to worry, there's hope for you. What if your ability to be open and receptive to receiving not only payment for your services, but to attract wealth in the process of being obedient and respectful and diligent in your answering the call to serve and heal the world, one life at a time, is the result of a negative chain of emotional pain and programming. Hey, that's the best news ever. Why? Because you have the power of Lightning Reiki at your disposal. Yeah, it's not just about serving your clients. It's here for you anytime you want for yourself, right now. Okay. Now, it's not enough just to call this chain of money blocking links that have been accumulated over a lifetime money blocks. No, we have to find an emotional anchor to start the chain with so we know what kind of money block you have. So pick one of these common money blocks that resonates with you. I mean, you feel it when you say or when you hear it. It just makes you feel bad. Maybe you heard your parents say, "What, am I made of money?" Or "Money doesn't grow on trees." Or, "Rich people are evil." Or alternatively, "Money is the root of all evil." "I'm not worthy of having a lot of money." "Money can't buy love or happiness." The more money you have, the more problems you have. You have to work really hard for your money. Money isn't important. No way! I can't get paid for doing what I love. I don't care about money. I just want to help people. Pick one of these, or a saying that resonates with you, so that we know why. We have to have a why. So pick one of these common money blockages and get one in mind that really touches you emotionally, like it's what's standing between you and the best things this life has to offer. Okay, now that you have one in mind that you can feel emotionally, you can feel that weight of it, give it a random number between 1 and 100. Now don't worry about the number. Just give me the first number that comes to your mind between 1 and 100 that pops into your head. Okay, I'm going to use number 17 for my number. And when I say 17, you say whatever number it is that you came up with. Okay? Now you with me? All right. Stand by. We're going to do this together. Take a deep cleansing breath in and out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And relax. Breathe in and breathe out. Are you ready to eliminate the entire chain of negative money block links that have accumulated and hidden themselves at various places inside your body once and for all? Okay. Put your hands in the Lightning Reiki position and place them on top of your head with the opening over your chakra and the fingers pointing forward. Got it? Okay. Using your imagination, see the golden bright light from source above streaming down through you and into the earth, completely surging through every cell of your body for a moment, while you prepare to release a burst of energy through the palms of your hands. You can feel the heat already. Now that you're going to release all the negative energy associated with this number 17 throughout your life, every poisonous link of the chain will be cauterized and vaporized, while you will retain all the wisdom from these money blockages, and you will be able to process them painlessly, if necessary, at any time in the future. Are you ready? On the count of 3, exert a light jolt of pressure and say ugh. Then release the pressure, but keep your hands on your head. This will release the Seek and Destroy Reiki Lightning Bolt. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ugh! Remember to replace your number when I say my number 17 and repeat after me. I release all number 17. And the associated dramas and traumas. And pain associated with number 17. Through this life, time, and space. I also release any need for forgiveness, indebtedness, guilt, sin, remorse, blame, or shame associated with this number 17. I now invite the God Source energy flowing from above to replace any displaced energy with health, wealth, happiness, love, creativity, and wild abundance. Remove your hands and sweep the top of your head, sealing the process. And congratulations! You're now free from any of those old money blockages, and you are free to experience your highest and best earning abilities and all the good things that this life has to offer. You are now in the driver's seat of your financial life from this point forward. If you have any questions or comments, or if you would like to get a certificate to verify your Lightning Reiki Attunement that we did today, you can drop me an email. I'm David M. Masters, and you can find out more about me at davidmmasters.com. Daniel, back to you.
Welcome back, everybody. Once again, I'm Daniel Mark Schwartz, and I'd like to share with you methods for building a professional Reiki practice serving victims of toxic people. First of all, I want to make it clear that the terms profession and business are here because I want to emphasize that a practice must embody 3 core qualities that these words represent. To reach our highest level of potential as healers, we must first establish and uphold a code of ethics for our craft. 2, refine and utilize our craft efficiently and effectively. And 3, grow our organization in an upward spiral that is energized by every client that we serve. Too often, hobbyist Reiki Masters or energy healers squander their gifts by just playing around with a lack of focus. Being a professional healer means we know what is our responsibility and what isn't. We avoid getting too entangled and influenced by our clients' lives as to be knocked off balance. Instead, we operate at the highest levels of our craft. Being businesslike means we cut away inefficient activities while prioritize providing value to clients. We also expect that every time we service a client, we are experiencing a net energetic gain. Energy is rewarded with energy, whether monetary, service exchange, barter, or other. The more you work, the more power you should have to improve your craft, to bring in appropriate help, to improve your facilities, and otherwise grow rather than being depleted. If you fear taking on too many clients, then you know you have a problem with your business. So the first tip is to put money in its place. Deal with money matters up front, preferably before the date of the meeting. This ensures clients come in with the proper frame of mind. You are a professional providing a service, and it helps separate your arts from any hang-ups on money your client might have by dealing with it before the actual healing begins. Victims of toxic people may not have autonomy in regards to how they spend their money. All receipts should be as generic as possible. Avoid any wording that might indicate your client is getting help to overcome their abuser, because if discovered, this will likely end your sessions in a hurry. Accept cash if you can, as this may be the only option for some clients. Encourage a commitment to receiving healing on the part of the client by offering discounts if they buy a number of sessions in advance, or if they are willing to start a sequence of weekly or monthly sessions that are auto-charged to their credit card. Pretty much all payment processors such as PayPal and Stripe offer easy-to-use subscription features which makes this possible, as well as automate. Tip 2. Reach out to the victims. As I discussed in my previous presentation, most victims of narcissists probably don't realize that they are in need of your help, or be benefited by your services at all. Find victims where they are and reach out to them directly. Offer prospective clients a free service to start out. At the very least, free services are a good way to get your message out to new people, while getting more experience treating victims. Over time, you will develop more and more steady clients and referrals, which will support your business in the long term. Tip 3. Have a wide variety of services you offer. Providing more value to every client you serve means that you can level up your practice more quickly. This allows you to get more education, bring in other professionals to help you grow, so you can focus on what you do best rather than logistical details, and magnify your outreach through increasingly sophisticated marketing. Examples of value-added services include essential oils, crystals, massage, life coaching, EFT, meditation, yoga training, and that's just to name a few. There's so many out there to choose from. Tip 4. Find new ways to market yourself. Currently, social media sites such as YouTube and Instagram video have huge potential for finding and attracting a huge audience. You don't have to be a cinematographer or a video expert to do well. Just be honest, helpful. Shooting videos on a cell phone with decent light and audio will attract you more clients than you know what to do with. Trust me. In the last year, one of my meager YouTube channels got over 50,000 views. It wasn't even that good. Reaching a stadium. That's a stadium of people for no money and very little effort. And as many people do better at this, reaching up to hundreds of thousands or millions of people with a single video. It's not that hard. It's something that anybody can do. Next, targeted ads on Facebook and Google are another good option for in-person practices. You can also attract clients by joining for free by joining on Facebook forums, helping answer their questions first, and then offering free services to people in need. Or you can even attend local groups and offer it to individuals one-on-one. For creative professionals, modern marketing is easier and more effective than ever before. Tip 5. Ensure you have a professional rapport with your clients. When we take a client, even friends or family, we must make a clear delineation between ourselves as the individual and ourselves as the healer. As a healer, we are responsible for our clients' well-being. We don't overstep our professional bounds. We are somebody that our clients can look up to and trust. In a way, we are assuming the role of a supportive parent for this short time that they are with us. When you are a healer, be a healer. Look the part. Don't complain or gossip. Be intent and focused on the good that you are there to do for your client. And even if the unexpected happens, take everything in stride with an unshakable aura of confidence and competence. Surprise is something that no one likes to hear from a professional working for them, much less their healer. When working with victims, expect to be a therapist at times. When you work with a victim of a toxic person, they will feel the desire to vent and be supported. When this happens, listen with an open and non-judgmental heart. Empathize with them. And above all, be non-judgmental of both them and their abuser. because otherwise you will easily fall into a downward spiral of judgment that is not conducive to healing. Instead of working to solve their problems, assist them in acknowledging where they are, without judgment, and invite them to take the next step up the emotional ladder. You are someone they respect and eventually may love because of what you do for them. From this role, invite them to make you proud by caring for themselves, and express your pride for every little step that they make. As you work your healing arts, be very clear with your client about what you are doing and why you are doing it, and what benefits they will get when you do it. This helps clients realize the value that they are getting and stay engaged in your work.
It is common among Reiki Masters to charge very little or even nothing at all for their Reiki healing services. This is why most Reiki Masters are unable to survive on their own because of undercharging. You need to realize that if you are to help heal others using your Reiki gifts and abilities, you need to allow yourself to be paid for your healing. You may have forgotten that as part of our Reiki training, you understood that Reiki healing requires payment upfront before you heal your client. It really doesn't work as well without payment. For example, now that Reiki is being offered as a patient support services in the hospitals, Reiki practitioners are paid by the patient in a roundabout way. The patient has insurance, the insurance pays the hospital, and the hospital pays the Reiki practitioner. In this roundabout way, the patient is still paying for Reiki practitioner, even though the money is routed through the hospital, which is actually paying the energy healers in advance for being paid by the insurance company. When a client comes to you for a healing, you must be paid first. My mother always made sure that she was paid before healing anyone. Though occasionally she would take an IOU in form of a promising note that they would sign basically in blood. Nah, not actually in blood. But it really meant something to sign an IOU for my mom. Plus, I think there was a bit of a fear what might happen if they did not pay a promise note. Not that my mother would ever put a curse on anybody, but there was still a cultural fear that something bad might happen if someone didn't pay for their healing. And there were plenty of legendary stories and myths about the poor souls who tried to get one over on a healer by not paying. My mother also accepted many other kinds of forms of payment. Many of her clients were modest migrant workers who could not afford to go to the doctor or to the hospital. So she let them pay energetically in other forms other than cash. They would pay in fresh fruits, vegetables, or in exchange for labor, but they paid in advance if they were able to, otherwise the dreaded IOU. All of this is to say the rule to follow is to charge your client upfront before you engage in healing to ensure there is equal energetic exchange, which creates a balanced spiritual healing. Energy workers of all kinds tend to undercharge for their healing services. It wasn't long ago that it would cost $20,000 to become a Reiki Master and take 3 years of study and practice on top of that. I practiced under Diane Steen, who pretty much destroyed the high-priced Reiki training that was only available at that time to the elite. Diane Steen attuned groups of Reiki students in Wiccan Crutches courses at a low-cost price. That led to bargain-priced Reiki training all over the world. Because Reiki Masters were not paying high prices for their training, they feel uneasy about charging higher prices for their services. It's like saying, how could I charge a high price if I didn't pay a high price? But what you're forgetting to consider is that it is very likely that what you paid for your Reiki training is more the same than you might think. For instance, for someone who is rich, $20,000 is a reasonable cost to pay for the right to open your own energy healing practice. Think about it. Let's say you only spend $1,000 for your master training. It is highly likely that you spend far more in comparison for your training than that rich person, because that $1,000 came at far more sacrifice than $20,000 felt like letting go for a rich, wealthy person. So forget about it. That excuse doesn't work anymore. So forget about it and let it go. But there's still your low self-esteem or imposed lack of worthiness. You're probably raised to believe that you are not worth much, and so you price your healing services accordingly. Most of us who are not from wealthy families have been conditioned by our parents and our communities not to expect too much, not to want too much, because reality dictates that you will be stuck living a modest life, for you work very hard for very little, trying to make a living as best you can. If you don't expect too much, you cannot be disappointed, and you are less likely to suffer for wanting more than you deserve. I know how it goes, but you have to let go of that too, because even though your body only is worth less than $600 in raw materials, the fact that you have a direct connection to God, source, energy, you are a form of God living this life for the pure joy of being here, to enjoy all the creation, your royalty. But you have to step out of your poverty and into your royalty. You have a special gift that is not Kmart priced. You're a royal energy worker with an amazing ability to heal others without all the side effects of the traditional pharmacy medications, which may help in the meantime by making symptoms but offer no healing. Reiki actually heals people who are receptive to the healing, God source energy. So raise your price accordingly. Whatever you are charging now, double it. If the bottom doesn't fall out of your Reiki practice, double it again. And keep doubling it until no one wants to pay any more than you can keep that high price, and offer a discount to the highest lower price that your clients are willing to pay. This is your sweet pot. Next year, double your price again and see what happens. Let the universe adjust your pay. Just in case God thinks it's time you got a raise for all the good work you do. If you don't do it, you will never know if you were ready for a raise or not. Plus, you're also going to expand your Reiki practice, because now you can make even more money. You're doing this to add the ancient curandera barrida con de huevo practice of energy sweeping your clients with an egg, and you're now considering of expanding your market research by adding a second or third language to your Reiki practice. Now you're ready to grow your potential and allow yourself to have more prosperity and abundance. God bless you as you increase your potential to do your greatest. And if you need more information, you can contact me at Rosa M. Luna at rosamluna.com. Thank you, and God bless you.
Reiki and an energy exchange. Is it ethical to give Reiki without the exchange of energy or money? As spiritual professionals know, it is important to complete the energy circuits. That is what is meant by energy exchange. When one receives something of value and gives something in return. There are many ways one can do this within the Reiki practice. Money is a form of energy exchange. Money is a form of energy. Money can be an evil or a blessed form of energy exchange, depending upon the intentions of the giving as well as the receiving of it. Many things can be misused in the same way as money, such as love. When one misuses their intentions with love, it can be harmful as well as money. For one to assume another's intentions behind using money as a form of energy exchange may be a form of judgment. So let's open ourselves up to listening to our own highest good and guides. Go within and ask what you are guided to do to receive and give as an energy exchange in this 3D world. Things to take into consideration when determining what is best for you when it comes to an energy exchange. This may be a very personal, no two may agree on subject. There are many valid opinions as well as ideas on this matter. So be sure you're checking in with yourself frequently, your higher self, your guides, when determining what best suits you in this matter. We're living in a fast-paced, changing world. As an energy healer, one's time is very precious, just as everyone else's is. A Reiki session is typically 30 to 90 minutes. Energy healers give so much more than just the healing session, such as Reiki. A practitioner also has an energy exchange for the space they provide to be able to perform the session you will receive in an ethical manner with proper privacy. This most often also requires electricity for heat to keep you comfortable and lights. There's also an exchange of personal time and energy the practitioner must exude. They also use personal time and energy to create a vibration within this physical space by bringing in crystals and possibly oils, diffusers, as well as music that creates the personal essence their higher selves guide them in doing. All of this varies from one practitioner to another. Some may open their homes up to be able to serve you. A practitioner may also use their personal time to energetically cleanse the space, the area, before they use it and after they use it, with each session ensuring it's ready for you to receive the best possible experience you can. All of what I have said varies from practitioner to practitioner, as well as the needs of each client and the type of energy exchange. So some different forms of energy exchange. Energy healing is a pure energy from source. We as practitioners often have an innate sense of intuition. Optimally, we give our healings with an unconditional love beyond an exchange. However, practitioners also have responsibilities within this 3D world to be able to assist others with energy healing. I have personally done trading as a means of energy exchange. This could be for things such as accounting or coaching or a healing for a healing from another practitioner of a different modality. There are endless things one could trade for that will create an unconditional exchange of energy. However, you as a practitioner choose to complete the circuit, always do it with everyone involved's highest and best at heart, full of love. The universe will take care of the rest. I can be found at sourceenergytherapy.com or wendyjohnsonslifecoaching.com.
Now that you have expanded your menu items, how do you add healing alternative items to each client who comes for a Reiki session? It is not as hard as you might think, and you have to let go of any ideas that you are trying to get away with something, because you are not. What you are doing is adding value to your customer's experience by enhancing your experience from their work with you. If you are not sending your client home with something to take away with him or her, you are not doing as good of a job as you could. To give your client the best experience, make sure he or she leaves with something besides just a healing service. Any physical item that your client can take home with him or her reminds your client about the experience they had with you in the office. That creates an infinity with your client. Think about it. If you send your client home with crystal necklace, she wears this around her neck for at least 1 week. For 7 days, every time she looks in the mirror, she sees and is reminded about you. This session, when other people in her circle of influence see the necklace, they ask, "Where did you get that beautiful necklace?" The result is free advertising for you. May open up an interesting conversation about you and your services and could lead to generating a new client for you. The more things you can send your client home with, the more connection you have with your client, which grows over time. These days, it is not just about how much you can earn from each visit you have with your client. The future of your practice and how effective you can be in your community depends on the connection that you share with your customers. Total each receipt with your client's visits. Let's say a total from the visit was $230. $100 for the Reiki session, $50 for a Reiki enhanced necklace, $55 for a therapeutic potted plant, and $25 for 2 ounces of Reiki enhanced fenugreek. The amount that you received from that client over what you were paid for each Reiki session, $130 indicates your success in building connection with your client. Good job. Keep up that good work. Next, adding healing alternative terms to your menu increases the efficiency and allows the greater financial blessings for you and yours. This is an exciting journey that you are on of expanding your services and the good that you can bring to your community and the world. Thank you, and have a happy and prosperous future full of all the things that you would love to see in this life. If you want to know more about herbs and minerals and how they can add to your Reiki healing practice, you can contact me directly. My name is Juanita Holiday, your natural alternative specialist, and you can find out more about me and contact me at juanitaholiday.com. God bless, and Dios los bendiga.
Thank you and the whole Reiki team at St. Paul's Free University for answering the call to be here in the event today. And our most honorable gratitude goes out to you, each of you who participated today. And we are so blessed to share these powerful tools and techniques with you from St. Paul's Free University. Now remember, if you would like to enroll in our Reiki Masters Business Acumen course at St. Paul's Free University, or any other course of study that will help you to continue this process, please check us out online at stpaulsfreeuniversity.com, or you can contact any of our presenters here today. Daniel Mark Schwartz can tell you how to receive your certification and continuing education units and credits for attending this event today. Daniel?
Thanks, Dave, and I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you that made it all the way through these presentations. I'm certain that you've learned something that you can use to drastically amplify your Reiki practice, and we'd like to recognize you today with the opportunity to receive a free Certified Reiki Professional Certificate from St. Paul's Free University. Now, this is a limited time offer, so make sure you don't delay and you put in your application right away before it goes away. In order to apply, you need to go to the address listed below. That's stpaulsfreeuniversity.com/CRP. That's stpaulsfreeuniversity.com/CRP. That's Certified Reiki Professional. When you get to the page, fill out all of the form with details about your, who you are, where you'd like your free certificate sent to, and your contact information, and we'll make sure to get you one out right away. Dave?
Thank you, Daniel. Also, we want to let you know that we here at St. Paul's Free University are on the lookout for new instructors who are passionate, have a story to tell, and are on a path to a life-fulfilling purpose and enlightenment. If that sounds like you, and you've been looking for a platform to take your mission to the world, then St. Paul's Free University might be a good match for you. And if you think you're really a good match for us, then by all means, please reach out to us online at stpaulsfreeuniversity.com or contact any of our presenters that you've met in today's program. Again, from all of us here at St. Paul's Free University, thank you for attending, and God bless you as you prepare for your new lease on your most prosperous Reiki practice, as you achieve your highest and best and live a better life, your best life, and make the world a better place.